This is wild for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about a hypothetical trade which would send Coby White to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green. We're also going to be looking at some counteroffers the Chicago Bulls might explore. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe. You found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we go ahead and jump into today's hot topic, I want to go ahead and share a special message from the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code DIGEST to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfume.com and use the code DIGEST, or you can scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Go to tryfume.com/digest or scan the QR code and use the code DIGEST to get your free Fume base when you order your journey pack today. All right, so we are talking about a hypothetical trade that suggests that Coby White would be traded over to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green. Before we jump into it, I'm just going to say I don't like this because I think that Coby White is a foundational piece for the Chicago Bulls. I think that he could potentially be an all-star. I still believe that there is a way he could even be a franchise player for the Chicago Bulls, and I really do believe because of his experience and because of what he learned from DeMar DeRozan, he is going to take that into this season. We're going to see just how clutch Coby White is and how much of a leader he can be, because he's already expressed that he wants to be a leader for the Chicago Bulls. And I love the fact that he is willing to run up the chimney for all the smoke that comes with being the leader of the Chicago Bulls. So I love that about him. I definitely wouldn't want to see him traded. Now, with that being said, this is a hypothetical trade. You can find this particular article online, and it is how the Bulls can land a future star at the trade deadline. So they're suggesting a trade that could happen at the trade deadline. And essentially all it is a straight up trade for Jalen Green. So it's Coby White for Jalen Green. All right, and so that is the trade. And so they talk about why the Houston Rockets would want to do this deal. First, they talk about the fact that Coby White is on a team-friendly deal, so that would work for the Houston Rockets. They talk about the fact that they feel like Coby White, his experience, they would be able to plug him in right now, and that would take them to another level. You know that the Houston Rockets are looking to be a bit more into a win-now situation. They're slowly climbing up the West ranks there, and they feel like this is the year perhaps that they can really knock the door down and kind of go further than they've been in quite some time. And I have to think that their head coach is coming over from the Boston Celtics, where he had a ton of experience, and he also got a chance to really help that roster reach high levels. He's starting to bring that over to Houston. So I think that Coby White is that type of player, a lot like a Marcus Smart. I think that that's what perhaps the Houston Rockets are looking for, some stability. All right, and so I think that that is two reasons why the Houston Rockets would want to make this deal. Now, it talks about why the Chicago Bulls would want to make this deal, and I don't agree with any of it. And so first, they talk about the fact that Jalen Green is younger than Coby White, and he's only 2 years younger. So he's 22, Jalen Green, and Coby White's 24, so that's not a huge difference. That puts him on the same timeline as Josh Giddey, which personally I really don't care too much about that. So that's number one, why the Chicago Bulls would make this deal. Number two, this writer suggests that Jalen Green has a higher ceiling than Coby White, and that is questionable, to say the least. All right, and so now we go into statistically what is happening here. I just think that when you look at Coby White, you look at his numbers, they suggest a little bit more of a more steady growth or something that I could trust. Jalen Green has been a little bit of an up and down situation since he's been in the NBA. And as good as he played last season, it actually was a down season for him. It was down in minutes. It was down in points scored. It was also down a bit in field goal percentage. And he is not a very good three-point shooter. In fact, when you compare it to Coby White, you would much rather have Coby White in both levels. So I'm talking about not just shooting the ball from the three-point area, but I'm talking about two-point percentage as well. Coby White has the upper hand on Jalen Green there, and he does not shoot as much as Jalen Green. Jalen Green is a bit of a volume shooter. That's another thing, okay? So he doesn't shoot very well from downtown, and he is a volume shooter. That doesn't really look good for the Chicago Bulls, especially when you're looking to fit a player around Modest Buzelis. Because if Buzelis is getting downhill, if Ayo is still there and he's getting downhill, Josh Giddey is not known for just being a jump shooter. He's going to be trying to get downhill. Somebody is going to have to be able to stretch the defense. And the statistics show it would more than likely not be Jalen Green. And so I don't like that aspect of the particular deal if we were to move on from Coby White. Now, another interesting part of this article is it said that they're looking to move on from Jalen Green because he's looking to move into restricted free agency. That's the same situation the Bulls are getting into with Josh Giddey. But they also talk about having to make a decision with Alperen Sengun. All right. And so they say that both of those players are going into this restricted free agency, and they're going to have to make a decision on one of those players because you have Jabari Smith. He's on the front line. They're thinking that they may want to go ahead and go with him over Alperen. And then in the backcourt, you've drafted Reed Shepherd. You have Van Fleet there. You also have Dylan Brooks. So they're saying that that is becoming a bit crowded, and perhaps Jalen Green's playing style doesn't fit there. And they're going to have to make a decision on one of the two players. And so I think if the Bulls were to even entertain moving Coby White, I would want to get the big man. I think that Alperen is a guy that I would want. He brings a level of physicality on the offense and the defensive end. Offensively, he is going to remind you a bit of Marc Gasol, and he's going to remind you a bit of a Zach Randolph. They do not play high and above the rim. He can shoot on either shoulder, terrific footwork on the offensive end, and he is a brilliant passer. So you think about that with a Modest Buzelis cutting, like they are going to do some things on the offensive end, and I think they're going to make it easy for one another. Defensively, as far as chasing down and getting back in plays, that is exactly what Alperen does. You can imagine that along with Buzelis out there. They're getting chased down blocks. If there were several times in his highlight tapes that I saw him get back, get tall, and really make it difficult on an offensive player. So I love that. And so I love that physicality. I think that this would be a better fit for a Chicago Bulls team that did not draft any center, all right? And this player went from 9 points a game all the way up to 21 points a game. So I have to think that this would be an excellent fit for the Chicago Bulls. Next up, another guy is Cam Whitmore, whose numbers you're looking at right now. I think that Cam Whitmore is another player that I would be particularly interested in. I think if we were to move Coby White, now we would have a legit wing player that, in my opinion, you give him the opportunity and you give him the minutes, he might be like another Mikal Bridges. I think that he would be terrific for the Chicago Bulls. I think that he's excellent in knocking down the shot. He'd be a terrific slasher. It'd be awesome to see him fill the lane with Modest Buzelis. And so let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Do you think that the Chicago Bulls should go ahead and just outright trade for Jalen Green straight up? Do you think that perhaps they should go ahead and get their big man, Alperine, over in a trade with Coby White. Or if they're trading him, trade him for Cam Whitmore. Let me know in the comments which one you're thinking. As usual, I want to thank you guys out there for liking and subscribing to the channel, and let you know that 65.7% of you that watch the channel are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you continue to throw it off the glass and alley-oop on that subscribe button for me. Means a lot as we try to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. And even though they continue to disrespect my man Coby White with these ridiculous trades, I'm saying go Bulls, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.